Okay, let's dive in. MH370. It's been 11 years now.
11 years, and still, no, it's just one of aviation's biggest, most profound mysteries. Heartbreaking, really.
Absolutely. 239 people
Hmm.
vanished off the radar.
Just vanished. And, despite all the huge searches across these vast ocean areas,
Nothing.
still nothing definitive, no main wreckage found. It's that quote someone used about how it tears at the fabric of reality.
Yeah, that really lands. It feels like that, doesn't it?
It does, the sheer absence of answers.
But, okay, there's actually news. There's renewed hope because another search is happening right now.
Exactly. Underway as we speak in the southern Indian Ocean. We've been looking into this, particularly based on a recent report from 60 Minutes Australia.
Right. So that's our source material for this deep dive. And our mission here is really to unpack what makes this search attempt different.
Yeah, what's new? What technology are they using? What are the massive challenges they're up against? Because the environment down there is intense.
And ultimately, what would finding the plane actually mean after all this time?
It's being led by Ocean Infinity, the deep-sea exploration company.
And this isn't just like trying the same thing again, is it? The tech is supposed to be way more advanced.
Oh, significantly more advanced. That's the key difference. There's excitement, definitely, but also, caution.
Understandable. And some questions, too, about the data they're using, the transparency maybe,
Yeah.
and just the sheer scale of it all. It's hard to overstate.
Well, the technology itself is fascinating. One expert in the sources compared the leap. It's like going from sail power to steam power in ships.
Wow. Okay. Sail to steam. That's a huge jump.
It is. We're talking about AUVs, autonomous underwater vehicles, basically very sophisticated deep-sea drones.
Right. Not just, lowering a camera on a rope.
Mm-hmm.
These things operate on their own.
Exactly. They can go down to 6 kilometers deep, 6,000 meters.
6 kilometers. That's incredible depth.
And they can operate down there scanning the seabed for up to 100 hours on a single mission.
Okay, 100 hours at that depth. So how does that capability, that endurance, really change the game compared to the earlier searches?
Well, think about the previous methods. Often they were towing sonar equipment, right, which covers maybe a narrower path or needs bringing up and redeploying more often.
Right. Slower going.
Much slower, potentially. These AUVs, they work independently. They swim pre-programmed routes, methodically mapping huge grid squares on the seabed.
And they're processing data as they go.
Yeah, onboard processing. They can identify anomalies, things that look out of place on the ocean floor, and flag them as potential targets.
Okay, so it flags something interesting. Then what?
Then they can send an AUV back to that specific spot for a closer look, maybe do a much higher resolution sonar scan, or critically try to get photographic images.
Ah, the visual confirmation.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The sources stress this. Sonar finds anomalies all the time. Rocks, geology, other debris, lots of false alarms.
Right.
But it's the camera images, the actual photographs of wreckage. That's the undeniable proof everyone needs.
Okay, so the tech is amazing, but deploying it, that's the hard part because of where they have to do it.
Oh, absolutely. The location is, well, it's about 1,500 kilometers off the coast of Western Australia.
In the southern Indian Ocean. Not exactly calm waters.
Notorious is the word, hostile. The sources mention recorded wave heights of up to 20 meters there.
20 meters, that's monumental.
It is. And there's no shelter.
Yeah.
You're completely exposed. Trying to launch and recover this very sensitive, expensive equipment in those kinds of conditions?
It must be incredibly difficult. Dangerous even.
Often impossible, frankly. They might have windows of calmer weather, but it's a huge operational challenge.
And it's remote. We're talking, what, 6 or 7 days sailing time from Perth?
Yeah, the nearest major port. So if equipment breaks or someone gets sick or the weather turns really bad, you're a long way from help.
It just highlights the immense logistical and physical challenge of operating out there for weeks or months.
Definitely. And the plan for this search, the specific area they're targeting, covers about 15,000 square kilometers.
15,000. Still a huge area, even with this tech.
It is. And the choice of that specific zone, it's based on analysis and data put together over the years by various independent researchers.
Okay, so independent data pointed them there. But there seems to be some discussion around that data.
Well, yeah. According to the reports we looked at, Ocean Infinity themselves, the bosses, have been a little bit guarded about the exact reasons for choosing this new zone.
Especially since it's apparently quite close to an area that was already searched before.
Exactly. And some observers, people quoted in the sources, feel there should be more transparency about that.
They want the data published.
Essentially, yes. The argument is that the specific data points, the analysis, the reasoning, it should ideally be out there, published, peer-reviewed, open to scrutiny by the wider community.
Rather than just reviewed internally or behind closed doors.
That's the concern voiced by some. They want that crucial information shared openly.
Okay, so you've got this high-tech operation in a brutal environment, guided by data some want more clarity on, and then there's the money side. Ocean Infinity's taking a pretty big risk here, aren't they?
A huge risk. They actually started this search before they'd finalized the contract with the Malaysian government.
The no fine, no fee deal.
That's the one. If they do find MH370, that contract is reportedly worth potentially up to $70 million US.
70 million. Wow, so that's literally the $70 million question hanging over the whole thing.
Pretty much. It adds this whole other layer of, well, pressure and incentive to what's already an incredibly difficult mission.
And we have to remember the history here. This isn't the first time a major search has happened.
No, this is the third major search effort overall. And it's actually Ocean Infinity's second go. They had a search back in 2018 that didn't find the aircraft.
Right. So that history,
Yeah.
It must temper the excitement a bit. All the past disappointments, the false hopes.
Absolutely. There's a definite sense of caution you pick up from those who followed this for years, including experts involved before. They're hoping this time is different, but...
But they've seen hope raised before, only for it to lead nowhere.
Exactly. You can understand that caution.
But the hope is still there, isn't it? Because finding it would mean so much.
Oh, unquestionably. It would be just monumental, first and foremost, for the families.
Of course. After 11 years of this agonizing uncertainty.
To finally have some answers, some measure of closure. It's hard to even imagine what that would mean.
And for the wider world, too, to finally solve this puzzle.
Yeah, to kind of stitch back together, as that phrase went, this mystery that really does feel like it tears at our understanding of how things work.
Okay, so let's just sum up the key takeaways from this deep dive. Ocean Infinity's back for their second attempt, the third major search overall.
And they're using these incredibly advanced autonomous underwater drones, capable of diving 6 kilometers deep, scanning for 100 hours straight, a real technological leap.
A leap compared by one expert to sail versus steam. That kind of magnitude.
But that tech is being deployed against immense challenges. The location, 1,500 kilometers offshore.
In that brutal southern Indian Ocean environment. 20-meter waves, days from port, dangerous, difficult logistics.
Yeah, incredibly tough. And the search area itself, 15,000 square kilometers, is based on independent research data.
Though some questions remain, for some observers at least, about the full transparency of why that specific zone was chosen.
And financially, Ocean Infinity started this on spec, basically, with that potential $70 million no fine, no fee contract on the line.
A huge gamble, adding another layer to it all.
And because of the past failed searches, hope is definitely mixed with caution. But the driving force remains the potential outcome.
Closure for the families. Answers to one of modern aviation's most profound mysteries.
Exactly. That possibility fuels this whole massive effort.
So when you think about it,
Yeah.
you've got this absolute cutting-edge technology pushing the limits of exploration.
Pitted against the raw, unpredictable power of one of the wildest ocean environments on Earth.
All driven by this incredibly deep human need. The need for answers, for resolution, for finding what's lost.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder. This persistent decade-long search for MH370, with all its challenges and technological strides, what does it ultimately tell us about our own human drive? Our drive to solve what seems unsolvable.